I'm going to kind of go over some new musical movie news that has come out that we haven't talked about on the pod yet. Stuff that I'm excited for, and hopefully stuff you are too. So, first off, we'll talk about the Wicked movie. Now, not sure if you saw the mini episode that was a YouTube exclusive. I think it's now published on pod sites as well. But from when I went to go see Wicked, the tour, and discuss the movie when John M. Chu, the director of Crazy Rich Asians, In the Heights, he is doing the movie adaptation. He had announced that Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande are going to be the leads as Elphaba and Galinda, respectively, and that the Wicked movie is going to be split into two movies. He felt that there was too much to tackle to try to wrap it into one movie. They wouldn't be doing it justice. They have confirmed that with that, there will be at least two new songs being added to the second movie. But now they've officially begun filming, and we have revealed more of the cast. May have mentioned it previously, but we are getting Jonathan Bailey, who was in Bridgerton and kind of led Bridgerton season 2 as Fiyero. If you aren't aware of his acting well, not his acting chops, his singing chops, go to YouTube. Look at an audition he did for the last 5 years, singing If I Didn't Believe in You. He crushes it. He has emotion. He has a fantastic voice. I'm really pumped to see him as Fiyero. And if you looked at my video that I did on Wicked, he was not one of the suggestions that I had, but that was because I was unaware of his game. Didn't know he had it like that. Kudos to him. Excited to see where that goes. We are also got announced that we are getting Jeff Goldblum as the Wizard, which I like this casting. Jeff Goldblum is a very quirky, kind of charismatic and charming guy, but also in a goofy way, which kind of fits some of the Wizard. He can also pull off menacing as well, which the Wizard has a little bit of those notes too. Not so much outwardly in his expression, at least not in the Wicked play musical that I have seen, but he's a sinister guy. He maybe not intentionally good natured, but some of the things he does kind of shady. I think Jeff Goldblum can play that off really well. I'm not sure about his singing chops. I feel like I've heard him sing before. I'm not going to interrupt this to go search it. I feel like I've heard him sing before, and it's passable. Thankfully, the Wizard doesn't have a key singing role, so it doesn't really matter that much. One of the castings I'm most excited about is Michelle Yeoh as Madame Morrible. She was fantastic in Everything Everywhere All at Once this past year. If you have not seen that, it is a very kind of trippy, goofy movie, but also having a ton of heart, and she shows so much range in that. So I'm really excited to get her to see. She mentioned in an interview a couple years ago that being in a musical was kind of a dream role, something she wanted to do. And so I'm pumped to see her get this opportunity and see what she does with it. She's a fantastic actress. We are also getting Marissa Bode as Nessa Rose, Elphaba's sister. And interesting fact, if you're familiar with Wicked at all, Nessa Rose she uses a wheelchair. And Marissa Bode is also a wheelchair user. So that's really cool for inclusivity that they are casting someone who is a wheelchair user as well to bring that to the role, that authenticity, and give that representation. So really excited to see what she can do. She hasn't been in anything super popular, but she has been acting on stage since a young age, is what was reported by Deadline anyway. So here's hoping that they didn't lead me astray. We are getting Ethan Slater as Bach. I am not familiar with Ethan Slater, but he was on the Broadway SpongeBob SquarePants the musical as SpongeBob, which I'm not familiar with at all. I did not grow up on SpongeBob. I was not allowed to watch it. Don't ask me why. I think it was because they felt like it didn't really add anything to my developmental growth. So there's that. But I have seen some episodes of SpongeBob. I can kind of see some similarities between the character of SpongeBob and Bach. And it's not just that they both wear overalls. Although now that I say that, I'm like 99% sure SpongeBob doesn't wear overalls, just square pants. But he doesn't wear a shirt, so he should wear overalls to help keep his pants up. But, anyways, we'll see if I'm right or wrong on that. We're getting Bowen Yang from SNL, and he was in the movie Fire Island too, as Fanny, Pfannee, who is a student at Shiz University. We are getting Bronwyn James as Shen Shen, another Shiz student. We're also getting Aaron Toe as Averick, who is a Shiz student that was in the Wicked books. As far as I know, he is not referenced, at least not by name, in the play. We are getting Keela Settle from The Greatest Showman. She played the bearded lady. And it was really bad. I don't remember if she had a name in that. I mean, I'm sure she had a name, but if they actually reference her name in that, she sang This Is Me and absolutely crushed it. I'm excited to see what she does in this. She is playing Miss Cottle, who, from everything I could find, is not a character from the books or the play. It sounds like it's a new character for the movie. People are speculating that she is going to play similar to the nurse, the midwife from the play and the books. That kind of goes with Nessa Rose to Shiz originally. So we'll see what her character plays. I would also like to get some redemption's the wrong word for it. She was also in Rent Live, which was just rough. As a Rent lover, it was rough to watch. She did decent in it, but that whole production was off. Part of that's not the cast's fault, though. If you're not familiar with what happened with Rent Live, the actor and performer who is playing Roger, he either twisted or broke, I want to say it was his ankle, something that limited his mobility. It was something with his leg. And so they aired the recorded rehearsal. So I think that's what kind of hurt Rent Live a lot with that, is because even though it's a recorded rehearsal, they're doing it for safety. You're still probably not going to be given 110% on that as you would for the actual performance that you know is going out live. There were still some great performances in it overall, but everything was just kind of rough. And Rent's kind of a rough around the edges musical a little bit. It's not the typical musical fare that you're going to get. And even with the movie bumping it down to PG-13, taking away a little bit of that edge, in my opinion. They did that a little bit more even for Fox, for network television. So you lose some of that with that. So that's my Rent Live bunny trail. I'm excited to see Keela Settle in this movie because she was great in The Greatest Showman. So I mentioned Aaron Toe as Averick. And then the only other person that we have announced so far in the cast is Colin Michael Carmichael as Nicodic, who is a professor who takes over for Dr. Dillamond. If you are not familiar with Wicked, Dr. Dillamond is a goat professor that plays a crucial role in the plot. Yes, there are talking animals in Wicked, if you're not familiar. I will be very curious, and I'm a little hesitant to see how they pull that off well with movie adaptation. It's always tricky, I feel like, when you're trying to do kind of human-animal hybrids for it, which I feel like you have to do in that role, because that's part of brief spoiler alerts for Wicked. Skip a minute and a half ahead if you don't want to hear it. Part of the plot of Wicked is they find out that the animals are losing their ability to speak, and walk and talk same as speak, and are going back to more animals, creatures, not members of society. So I feel like you gotta have them kind of like the human hybrid, or at least upright. So I feel like that could look goofy and tricky. Okay, spoilers over. John M. Chu has said that they do have Dr. Dillamond cast, but he's not wanting to reveal the casting on that yet. I have a prediction for who I think it might be. Um, I could be completely wrong. I wonder if it is going to be Hugh Jackman. Coming off the Spirited episode where I gave my prolonged pitch on I thought Hugh Jackman should have been in that role instead of Will Ferrell. It may seem like I'm obsessed with Hugh Jackman. I'm not. But Hugh Jackman's just getting ready to complete his run in The Music Man on Broadway. So he will be having availability very soon. And since they started filming, and depending on how they split up the two movies, and they film things out of order all the time, I think that could be a very real possibility, and could be why he's kind of holding on to it. Where it's a bigger name too, kind of wait on that reveal. And I think he would be good in this role. He has the acting chops, also great in The Greatest Showman. And so I would be excited to see that. Not sure how you pull off the human animal hybrid on that, the looks. He wouldn't be a recognizable character, most likely. You wouldn't be able to tell it was Hugh Jackman besides his voice. But I think he could do really well in that role. And so that's kind of one of my predictions. My other prediction could be, and I kind of hope this isn't the case, is if it gets Lin-Manuel Miranda. They worked together very closely on In the Heights, which was Lin-Manuel's first big Broadway play. We have not discussed it on here yet, but John M. Chu did the movie adaptation of that, and he worked very closely with Lin-Manuel Miranda to keep it very close and faithful to the musical, and how they adapted it and the changes that they made sure he was on board. Partially because Lin-Manuel was, I believe, he was a producer on it as well. Don't quote me on that, but that could be someone else. I could see him getting there. I feel like we're gonna be getting a big name for Dr. Dillamond, even though it's not a giant role. If it's a nobody or not as familiar actor that people are, I don't know why you hold on to the casting reveal. That's just me. Those are the main cast of characters for this movie. Most of the other ones are going to be smaller one. I mean, we announced Shiz students that are bigger names. I'm trying to remember from, I mean, someone else that we could see in there that we haven't heard yet is, I completely forget the character's name, is Elphaba and Nessa Rose's father. We will probably be seeing him at some point in this. He plays a slightly larger role in the books, partially just because there's a number of chapters that take place before they head to Shiz, growing up, and Elphaba's birth, and Nessa Rose, and a whole thing about the time dragon clock, which I touched on briefly on my other Wicked video.